guys, how are you this evening? Okay, so hello. We're going to go ahead and get started in our You Asked For It educational series. I've got a little bit of housekeeping that I need to clean up. I'm going to be looking over here a lot because my notes are on this screen. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that all of the subjects in Carrie's survey are going to be addressed. Body system's got a big response, so we're going to hit that one first and hit it hard. But everything's going to get taken care of that was in that survey, because I know a lot of you guys have a lot of interest in some of those other subjects. I want to mention also, in the interest of time, we're going to do just high-level overviews of these systems, not really highly detailed stuff. We're going to be doing, we're not really going to be doing like a medical school here in Essential Living. That's just a little bit too much. Carrie and I discussed this and decided that we'll do our level best, really, to kind of keep these to 15 to 20 minutes. But stay tuned to the end because there's a contest. Yay! Giveaways! Details at the very end, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so month one in the Body Systems Education Series. I'm probably going to stumble over some words. Welcome to the immune system, the warrior within. Not a single organ or a group of organs like the circulatory system or the digestive system, as we think of as having like a single function. That's easy to see and understand. My friends, that is not how this thing is, what this is like. This is much more shadowy and mysterious than a rumbling tummy. It's generated in numerous places within the body, and of course its primary responsibility is to keep the body and soul together by fending off pathogens and to clear the body of abnormal, foreign, and dead cells. Most of the time we really can't feel what the immune system is doing. Some people think it's just something in the wings that's kind of waiting to jump into action, but that's not really the case. This thing is fighting for us 24/7, 365, almost with every breath, because we are just really sort of under almost constant serious attack. It's responsible for clearing up the mess that's left behind in the aftermath of these constant skirmishes. It really is kind of the warrior within. That's why I named the class this. The immune system really highlights just how interconnected and dependent the body truly is. Everything affects everything else. It's a very highly adaptive immune system. It's very, very complex. That's why I'm kind of keeping it short. It's just going to be an overview. I just use the word adaptive, which kind of means that the system learns and remembers pathogens encountered before as we go through life. That way, that provides that long-term immunity that we all just really need and want to. We want to foster that in our body. There's also an innate immune system, which is more generic, doesn't provide that long-term immunity. It just kind of handles that run-of-the-mill low-threat stuff that you kind of run into every day, or it's common to you. Research has shown that the immune system communicates not only with itself, but with every single cell in the body in a very highly ordered and dynamic fashion. Interaction and communication between cells has really what can only be described as a language. It utilizes a finite number of substances called cytokines, which are grouped together in certain combinations. It's very much like the letters of the alphabet and how we use those to form words. It's very fascinating stuff, very complicated. I'm not going to go into all of it because in the interest of time, both mine and yours, trying to keep it to 15 minutes or so, but we are going to do just a very brief overview of the major players in what is a layered and multifaceted complex system. Of course, a big part of this is the lymphatic system, which we've all heard about. This is a circulating system, kind of like the highway of the immune system. It traverses the entire body and has multiple interrelated functions, like carrying white blood cells in a non-blood fluid called lymph. You've probably heard of this before. It comes into and out of the lymph nodes from the bones and tissues when an immune response is required. It also clears up a lot of the aftermath of that response. Spent cells, dead bacteria, deactivated viruses, whatnot. Just it kind of cleans up the battlefield as it goes. There are nodes throughout the upper body and even some in the legs. They act as garrisons for various types of immune cells and also act as filters for all those foreign particles that I just talked about. It kind of gets that stuff out of your body and drops it off with the kidneys and in the gut and gets rid of it. So some of the organs that are involved in the immune system, there's a few, so I'm just going to go through them very quickly. First up are actually your tonsils. The lowly tonsils. They kind of get a bad rap, but they're really important. A lot of people have these removed as kids, but luckily the medical establishment is kind of come to understand that the tonsils are actually a major gatekeeper in the immune system and kind of think twice when it comes to removing those, which is fantastic news. Tonsils become less prone to infection after the age of 10. So unless something really weird and untoward is happening, more doctors are taking a more of a wait and see what happens with this child kind of approach. And that's a great thing because your tonsils are actually clusters of lymphatic tissue. They trap viruses and bacteria that enter through your nose and mouth and are made up of 4 parts. The pharyngeal is actually commonly referred to as the adenoids. They're responsible for protecting the lungs and the ears from pathogens that enter through the nose. This thing hangs in the back of your nasal cavity. The Gerlach tonsils are located deep inside your head at the opening of the middle ear, so that protects your ears. The palatine tonsils are the one everybody's really familiar with. They're the ones that you can see when you open your mouth in the mirror on both sides of your throat. There's also 2 located, the lingual, on the back of the tongue. A lot of people don't realize that you have lymphatic tissue right on the back of your tongue. I lost my spot in my notes. Okay, the job of the tonsils is to release both T lymphocytes, or T cells, and B lymphocytes, B cells, which are certain types of white blood cells. T cells can actually kill pathogens all on their own and also communicate via that cytokine action to the B lymphocytes, or the B cells, and tell them to form antibodies to whatever pathogen has entered. And some of that action is actually occurring right on the back of your tongue. I did not realize that until I started researching this. So say because that's pretty amazing. It's happening right in your mouth. Next is the thymus gland, which is located right behind the sternum. There's just a few organs here. The thymus gland actually creates T lymphocytes before birth, before you're even born, and right up through puberty, when it starts to shrink and then it becomes a lot less active. It's still kind of active. Even I'm 50, it's still a little active, but by the time I'm 60, 70, that thing's going to turn into just like a little fatty mass, and it's going to stop working entirely. But while it's active, it's super important. There's a thymosin, which is the hormone of the thymus. It stimulates the development of those T cells. Throughout your childhood years, primary white blood cells called lymphocytes pass through the thymus, where they're transformed into those all-important T cells we're just talking about. Once matured, they move out into the lymph nodes and they're ready to fight disease. Our bone marrow is extremely important, and it's a key element in the lymphatic system. It's one of the primary organs that generates some of those lymphocytes from stem cells, which we've all heard about. Millions and millions of these every single day. Bone marrow and the thymus constitute primary lymphoid tissues involved in the early selection of lymphocytes when we're kids and our immune systems are really getting set up for our adult life. We've been talking about T cells and B cells. Those are both lymphocytes, but they aren't the only immune cells in the body by far. These are just the big guns, but there are a few types and several subtypes, and they all play specific roles. I need a drink, one moment. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to move on to the gut. This is actually a really important spot. Did you know that a good deal of our immune response actually is generated in the intestines? It's really amazing, and it wasn't that long ago that this was actually, the medical community actually realized that so much of it is in the intestines. It's one of the reasons that our gut health is so important. We'll be getting into total gut health in a later month. Probably Carrie will cover that because she's an expert in that. But for now, we'll just explore a little bit for this topic. The intestinal epithelium forms a physical barrier to microbes all along the tract, okay? There are patches of immune cell generated epithelial throughout. Although most people don't think of it this way, our skin actually acts as part of our immune system as well. It's a physical barrier. And it also harbors immune cells called dendritic cells in it that are very effective against invaders. There's also very interesting cells called Langerhans cells, which act as an early warning system. Again, with those amazing cytokine communication system, those Langerhans cells alert the interior immune system when you get a cut or some kind of an injury that there may be pathogens entering the system. So that's the skin's part. Okay, so but let's go back to the gut for a second because it's really important. You might not attribute digestive issues with allergies or arthritis, acne, chronic fatigue, some mood disorders, even autism, some cancer, dementia. You know, the gut is kind of the second brain, we found out, and that's been a pretty recent discovery as well. A lot of diseases seemingly unrelated are actually caused by gut problems. Astoundingly, the gut wall actually houses 70% of the cells that make up the immune system. It's loaded with leukocytes, loaded with it. And the gut flora inside the intestines can be a real game changer when it comes to boosting immunity, because one of the many jobs of gut flora is to act as another gatekeeper. And it sounds the alarm to the immune system when pathogens are encountered in the digestive tract. So if you find yourself getting a lot of colds, other health issues, you might really be, hello Dana, hello Carrie. Yes, I know you know that. So you find yourself getting a lot of colds and stuff like that, and the health issues, you might actually need to kind of address the gut health because, and get that microbiome balanced. That's right, angry gut, that's right. You're absolutely right about that, Carrie. The spleen is actually another, we've only got two more organs to go. The spleen is another organ that's deeply involved in immune function. A person's spleen filters, I think my cat just came in. A person's spleen filters their blood in search of foreign cells, and it looks for old dead red blood cells that needs replacing and gets rid of them, so not clogging up the system. People who are missing their spleen tend to become sick more often than people who have a spleen. The same thing with tonsils. If you had your tonsils out, I'm thinking about Vern. He gets a lot of upper respiratory stuff because, I think it's because his tonsils are gone. The last organ is the liver, which is also a major player. Most of us think of it as just being a filter for the blood, and it is, but it holds a massive, massive amount of those white blood cells, those leukocytes. By the way, all of these immune cells perform their functions like single-celled organisms. I mean, they've got like a life and a career all their own. They have the ability to move and capture and kill things all on their own. They're kind of like tiny white knights on bleached chargers that are leaping to our defense. And it's February, so I'm feeling romantic, I guess. I don't know. The immune system needs a lot of support, obviously. We want optimal function. There's a number of ways we can supply that. Eating healthy and clean is huge. That's a big one. That's probably the number one. Taking good quality supplements. Hello. Our beautiful essential oils. And doing them correctly and consistently. My personal problem with my supplements and stuff is consistency. I'm getting a lot better, but consistency is key. So looking after our gut health, getting enough good quality sleep, 7 to 9 hours, even though that's kind of hard sometimes for a lot of us, that's optimal for most of us. Yes, Carrie. Yes, Dana, I know you do. That's good. That's good. Both of you guys have your tonsils. I have mine as well. And I'm so glad that I do. They are, I mean, they can be a kind of a pain when they're hurting, but it's kind of good because I know that maybe it's not going to go any further, right? If your tonsils are hurting, maybe you're not actually going to end up getting sick. Okay, so toxicity is also another factor. Environmental toxins can seriously hamper the body's ability to create healthy functioning cells of any type, not just immune cells, but in all types. One of the biggest ways we can help ourselves in this area, and don't shoot the messenger on this one, but really it's lay off the sugar. It's really just to lay off the sugar. Do you know that just even a couple of grams of sugar is enough to cause suppression in the immune system for 4 to 6 hours? Couple little grams, 4 to 6 hours. That's a long time during cold and flu season. So let's think about what's going on for the last month or two. You may know, or maybe even you, have come down with something. A lot of sinus and upper respiratory stuff going around. I noticed it started to pop on Facebook about mid-December. And the week after Christmas, it just exploded. My news feed was almost nothing but people listing out their symptoms. I felt so bad for everybody, but it was absolutely littered with that. And it happens every year. It's like clockwork. It is absolutely like clockwork. I'm not saying we shouldn't indulge in our Christmas goodies, because I'm guilty, totally guilty, and I have no intention of ever stopping. The snacks, the goodies, the pies, and we love it all, but we do have to kind of take the good with the bad and be aware that there might be some consequences with that. Along with all of those sweets, you're going to parties and gatherings and having a great time, and that ups your exposure. So kind of have to take the good with the bad. Now, some of that obviously can be mitigated by getting enough sleep, eating real food as clean as we can afford, taking more supplements and oils consistently, ditching toxic products. The personal care products are an easy way to get the toxicity level down quickly and easily, and relatively inexpensively. So it's a high-level overview of the system. It's not detailed, but it's kind of enough to get you thinking. Now, in order to participate in the contest, I'm going to give you a homework assignment. Okay, now I almost heard some groans out there. Hi Denise. Hi baby. Okay, I'm going to post an article. It's going to kind of go over a lot of what I talked about, and it's going to list out all of those different types of immune cells. If you want to read it, I encourage you to read it. I think it's great. But if you just want to skim it, that's okay too. But here's the assignment. I want you to find an immune cell type in the article. Highlight what it says, copy it, and paste it in the comments. Everybody that does that is entered into the contest, and somebody is going to win a 5 ml this size bottle of oregano, which is wildly immune boosting at the end of the month. I'm also going to post a really cool article that I found about the immune system in the brain, and how it functions really differently from the rest of the body. And these are new discoveries this article was published last year, but it's a brand new discovery. And knowing what we know about oils and their ability to cross that blood-brain barrier, I think you'll find this article really interesting. Okay, so next week we're going to be highlighting some of the ways you can love on your immune system with oils, including oregano, so you know how to use it. And the week after that, we're going to focus on supplements. Okay? Hey, good night, guys. Thanks for... Yes, contest, Dana. Hi, Denise. Yep. Homework assignment. Find an immune cell type in the article. Yep, that's right. Okay, good night, guys. See you later.